So hello everyone. Like I said, I'm a professor and a designer, and for the past 10 years I've been the voice of the following people. These are people that you might think of as grandparents, watching over their grandkids, or maybe living in a retirement community. And you might be right about that, except they are not your typical seniors. They are gamers. And at the time when they had their pictures taken for the newspapers, they were respectively 78 years old, 69 years old, and 85 years old. And it's people like them that have been the subjects of my research for quite some time now. Because you see, I strongly believe that they are pioneers. Pioneers of what aging will look like in our not-so-distant future. And that's what I want to talk about today. So let's start with the beginning. What made me get into this interesting field? Well, it started with a study that I read in 2004 while I was preparing my doctorate, and the conclusion of it basically is that many older adults are watching television because they're lonely. And because they're lonely, they crave the parasocial interaction that television offers them. It's an illusion of social interaction between themselves and the fictional characters they see on screen. Now, at that time when I was reading that, I felt that was deeply disturbing. Not necessarily because I was being compassionate. I mean, that's not what a self-obsessed post-teenager thinks about. But I thought it was deeply shocking because it was very ineffective. See, at that time I was playing games, lots of games, and very good ones, like the World of Warcraft, a massive multiplayer online role-playing game that has millions of people play together at the same time. So riddle me this, how can you be lonely in the age of WoW? Why would someone pick the parasocial interaction of the bold and the beautiful over real interaction in online gaming? So that's what started the story for me. That's my origin story. And we've done a lot of research ever since, not just me, other people as well. It actually has grown exponentially. And that's a really good thing, actually. Because research so far has indicated that games can do a lot of good stuff for older adults, like improve their health, stimulate their social well-being, or they're even used in therapeutic contexts. And there's so much more. In fact, you can take it from me, digital games can be your first line of defense against old age. They can truly make a difference. Just think about all those brain training games, right? Well, maybe we're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit there. Don't get me wrong. I really believe that games can make a difference in how we age. But I also think that with regards to games and aging, we're looking in the wrong places, especially when it comes to the brain training games. Here is a consensus from the scientific community that was published in 2014. It literally states that we don't have any compelling scientific evidence up to date that proves that these games are actually working. In fact, there's also research out there that shows you how regular entertainment games that millions of kids are playing right now have better cognitive outcomes than the brain training games do. So what about the marketing? Well, it's mostly hot air at this point. And if you ask me, that's a pretty big problem, because similar to how pink games push materialism and undermine the self-confidence of young girls, brain games are pushing the idea that you're useless to society if your brain is getting too old. The former is sexist, and the latter, I'd say, is ageist. And ageism is actually making it very difficult for older adults to start playing games and get all these benefits that they could get from games. In my own research, I have numerous participants talk about how it's socially unacceptable for them to play games, how they run through the house to hide their Game Boys whenever people are coming over, or how they would use things like Bible quotes to defend while they are playing the games that they like. This one lady told me, people think I'm demented for playing the games that I like. Really? Why is it that we applaud a 70-year-old who's obsessed with chess, while we look down upon a 70-year-old who is obsessed with Pokemon? That's ageism. And ageism even carries over into the industry. At the 2015 Game Developers Conference in San Francisco, for the very first time this year, we had a group of veteran game developers raise awareness about this. Their key statistic, only 1% of game developers is over the age of 50, only 1 lousy percent. How are we going to make games that are truly appealing to older adults if they're so underrepresented in the industry? How are we going to make games that are even accessible to them? I can tell you the answer to that question. We're not. We have a long way to go there. And knowing all those health benefits that games can offer you in old age, that's really scary to me, because no matter the good shape you might be in today, there will be a day that we will all have an age-related disability. One that might prevent us from picking up a gamepad, from hearing audio cues in a game, or even turning on the console without help from a caregiver. So my talk is actually a wake-up call. Today we're living in a society in which 40-year-old women are the largest demographic group in gaming for quite some time. 25% of US gamers is over 50. We really need to start accepting the role of games in old age. You all know, everybody knows this, it's very important to play games when you're growing up, right? Well, I'm here to tell you, it's just as important when you're growing old. It activates your mind, your body, your life in ways that we can't even properly measure. We need to get rid of the ageism and have older adults play games for the sake of playing, not for anything else. Those are just side effects. Side effects of well-designed, fun-to-play games. Now, I also have some good news. Academia and game designers like myself have been taking this to heart and have making some amazing playful experiences for older adults. There's, for example, this is a playful turntable. It's called Recordis. It's designed for Alzheimer's patients. It helps them to recall memories, to socially interact, to feel good about themselves. Why does it do that so successfully? Well, because it's genuinely fun. This is a game that I worked on myself. It's called Blast from the Past. It has grandparents and grandchildren play together, learn from each other, learn about each other's cultures. Why is this game successful? Well, it's genuinely fun. Age Invaders. This is a game which has 3 generations play together at the same time on a huge LED board. You don't think that's fun? Check out these Bluetooth slippers they got. Yeah, that's fun for you right there. So academia has been doing amazing stuff. What about the industry? Well, the industry at this point in time, we see what we call the rise of the indie scene. It's a group of very talented, creative, independent game designers that are making games that are thought-provoking, emotionally moving. Now, these games aren't necessarily made for older adults or have aging as a theme or something in there, but they're made for people who are mature, who are looking for meaningful media content. And because of this, those games are really cleverly designed. If you play them, I promise you, they will blow your minds. And to be honest, that's a really good thing if you're trying to avoid Alzheimer's. So I think my basic point here is that games are growing up. Games are growing up just as their players are. And I strongly believe that games will redefine the culture of old age just as they've redefined youth culture years ago. So here's my takeaway. This is what I want you to do when you get back home. Play a game with somebody from a different generation. Help an older adult to play a game that's really awesome, moving, meaningful. Or if you're older yourself, play a game with your grandkids and figure out why they're so passionate about it. We really need to start to embrace that play is a very important function in later life. It's essential to growing up. We need to embrace the genesis of the silver-haired gamer. Thank you very much.